Hello, welcome back to part 2 of Chinese brush painting the plum blossom. So we've got as far as practicing a few of the elements that we need, and we have done a branch onto our painting. So now we need to put the flowers into position on our painting. So once again, I'm going to use the smaller brush, and I'm loading it up with that paler ink. And here it's a really good idea to have your practice piece of paper to just test that you can draw a line without the ink running too much. So see, if I do this, the ink is running a little bit too much here. I'm not getting a thin enough line. So in that case, you want to do a little bit more blotting on your paper towel to take a little bit of that ink out so that you can get a nice thin line. So then we can have a go at putting some flowers on our painting. So the idea is that we don't just do one posture, we do sort of a selection of different flower postures, so as to make the painting look more interesting. Another thing that you can do, and it probably helps, is to, when you're doing a flower in a particular perspective, you can obviously rotate your paper so that it makes it easier to imagine the perspective that you're working in. But I'm going to start off with the one we did in part 1, where we have 2 petals in front and 3 behind. So I'm going to put that about here in this space here. So we start with 2 petals in front. Now you can see that while I've been talking, a lot of the ink has run down my brush from here and come out into the tip too much, so I'll need to do a little bit of blotting there. Really, it's a bit too heavy a line. You may find that if you sort of stop and leave the brush in the downward position, it will start to accumulate too much ink in the tip. That's better. If you're having trouble with it splitting, just stroke it between your thumb and finger to bring it back to a point. And you can put a tiny bit of moisture on your finger and thumb and just use that as well to encourage it back to the tip. So there's the 2 petals in front, and then we want 3 behind. 1, 2, 3. So I've left a big space over here where I was planning to put in that full face view. So let's have a look at that. If we remember the petals, there are 5 petals, and we need to get all the way round with 5 petals. So if we start here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's now do the same thing and we'll make that into a back view. One, and it disappears behind here. 2, 3 will be there behind there. 4, 5. So I've got one more space left, or a couple of more spaces left in between my branches. I've got a space here, so what view could I do here? Well, if I turn my paper upside down, I can do that same view with the 2 in front and 3 behind, but in a different orientation. So I'll just reload my brush a little bit. With some more of the pale ink. And then do a little test, make sure that's okay. And then we'll do, so I'm going to do the 2 in front, but they're going to face down to the lower part of the painting this time. 1, 2, and then 3 behind. 1, 2, 3. So, you know, in that way I haven't made it difficult because I've turned the paper round. I can still think about it in the same pattern, but when I turn the painting the right way round, it will be in a different orientation. And I've got another space here, so I think I might put, again, turn the paper round, and we'll put that 1 in the middle and 1 each side pattern. So we'll do 1 in the middle and 1 each side. Now, because we're looking at it sort of, when I turn it the right way up, because of the perspective, we'll see a couple of little petals underneath as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when we put the sepals on, that will finish that one off nicely. So what have we got left with in terms of space? Well, I think we'll put a few buds on just to finish off, and these are relatively simple to do because they're just 1 petal. So we have press and come round, press and come round, press and come round, press and come round. I think I'll put 1 or 2 here maybe. Press and come round, press and come round. Can fit 1 in here. might make this into a 3 group, actually, that one there. And we'll have one here. Yours may be different to mine. You know, you can put the petals. I think I'll put another 3 group here. You have to sort of look at how the painting's developed and put the petals in accordingly. So I think we're nearly there. I think I'm going to put in one more, which is one of my favourite postures, which is the half open view. So I think we'll put that one in maybe where would look good here. So we see the 5 petals, but because it's half open, we only see them as a sort of an elongated shape rather than a round shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one would be hidden from us there. So let's put the details of the sepals and the pollen dots on now. So I'm going to put some stronger ink on my brush again. A little bit of dabbing on the paper towel, and let's put in some sepals and pollen dots. So for the back view one, if we imagine there's a little side branch coming off here, then we join it up 1, 2, 3, and the rest 4. The other part is hidden behind this other one here. This is our full face view, so we want that central circle, followed by the stamens, and then the pollen dots. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one is rather pale. You perhaps cannot see the petals very well at all, but when the paper is backed, it will show up. So the buds are very simple to join to the branch. You just want 2 little dots coming towards the branch. For this view, we'll need to see half of that centre piece, and then some little stamens and the pollen dots. Same for this one. You'll see the centre, and we'll see the row of little pollen dots, but I don't put in the stamens in this half open view. This is that side view, so we just join that on with a couple of dots there. That upside down view, again the stamens are going to be more visible on that one, so maybe we see a little bit more there. Join that bud up to the branch. I'm running out of ink, let's just reload. Join that bud up to the branch. Same here. Same here. we've got this sort of view where we're looking down, the flower is looking down. So there's the middle part. Do some stamens and a few pollen dots again. Sepals there, sepals on that one, and this one is only partly open, I think, with the position that I've done it in, so we probably just see a few little dots peeping through. And that's pretty much all the ink work done, with the exception of just making a few little adjustments here and there, with maybe at the addition of some little dots, some little baby branches here and there, just to finish the painting off. Make what we call sort of balancing the composition, just to finish that. So that's all the drawing part, or the bone work done. I want to finish off this painting with a little bit of colour, so I'm rinsing my brush out and switching over to my white haired brush. If you haven't got another brush, it doesn't matter. The white haired brush is a softer brush, and so it's just that little bit easier to achieve colour blend effects with a softer brush. But if you haven't got one, it's not essential. So I'm going over to that rouge colour now that I mentioned earlier, the bluish pink. It's number 400 in my set of Marie's Chinese painting colours, but you know, you can substitute with something else if you wish. So I've just got a little dab of paint out there. I'm going to dilute that out now. I want to use it very watery. I don't want a harsh colour for such a delicate subject, so plenty of water and dilute it out. And then we can go back and put a tiny little dab of the strong undiluted paint on the tip and just blot there slightly. And if we go to our test piece, we should be able to see how that goes. So if this is our the petals that we're doing, we put that dark tip down at the base of the petal and then press, and you can see I'm using the brush right over on its side this time, and you can sort of roll or rotate it, and that will nicely fill the petal. And if you've got a little bit of stronger paint in the tip of the brush, you should get a little bit of colour variation in that petal. So a little bit darker here and lighter up at this end of the petal. And we can use that on our painting now so that we get a little bit of colour on there. So you don't need to reload the whole brush every stroke, but you will need probably every few strokes to dip the tip into that strong paint, just to pick up a little pinprick of stronger paint. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are many, many ways of doing plum blossom. The way I'm showing you today is, is only one method. There are many different ways of colouring plum blossom, different colourways, different techniques, different ways of doing the drawing. What I've shown you today is just one possibility of a whole myriad of ways of painting plum blossom in the Chinese style, but this technique today will hopefully show you. Show you a couple of basic techniques: the bone style, the drawing with the brush, the boneless style, the making of a shape without drawing, as we did with the branches, and a little bit of colour work, so that you can see how we can use the brush to apply the colour. So I'm not reloading the brush for every stroke, but for pretty much every stroke I'm just dabbing a little pinprick of that stronger colour into the tip. One of the mistakes that beginners tend to make with this subject is they tend to have the ink for the petals too dark. You do want it pale, so that it's not sort of jarring out of the page. It should be quite pale to contrast with the dark of the branch and give you that sort of express the delicacy of the petals. So I've finished putting the colour on the petals. I'm going to finish this painting off now by putting a seal on the painting, and I'm going to use the seal for good fortune, which is really very appropriate for this painting. The plum blossom represents the 5 good fortunes in Chinese culture, so the good fortune seal is a really appropriate one to use. So if I get my test seal out and just lay that where I think it should go. We've made a diagonal sort of structure here, so the seal should go there really, I think. So let's load up with the seal paste. If it's cold, in your room, maybe a little on the seal just to warm it up a bit so that the oil transfers well. Make sure you've got it nicely lined up in your hand, that it's the right way up, so that when you bring it down it's going to be the right way. Position it, give it a really good press. Support the paper as you lift off, and that's our painting completed. So if you don't know about seals, if you haven't done so already, I have done a lesson about seals and what they are and how you use them. You'll also notice that this paper is quite flimsy. When we've done a painting that we want to put in a frame, we normally back the painting with another piece of paper. So if you haven't, you don't know how to do that, I've also done a video about how to back your painting so that it then looks all nice and smooth and flat, and the brushwork is much more clearly visible. If you would like to see some more of my paintings, you can go to etsy.com/shop/Anne Fairchild Art to see some more of my work. hope you've enjoyed today's painting, and I hope to see you again soon.